Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. It's been a little while since my last upload, but you know that I was not going to miss talking about the next hero in Overwatch. That is, of course, Juno, formerly known as Space Ranger, our next hero, support hero. Let's jump in, let's take a look at her kit, and then let's talk about my opinions after playing a couple of games as her in Quick Play, and share my overall thoughts. So, jumping in.
One small step at a time.
There she is. First of all, before we even do anything, I want to say huge shout out to Xanthi Huynh, the voice actress for Juno. I'm a big fan of her work. I'm really happy that she's finally in Overwatch. She voices one of my favorite characters in my favorite game of all time, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Voices Marianne in that. She'd been in Persona 5, she's been in Genshin Impact, which means back-to-back heroes with voice actors who've been in Genshin Impact. I think it's interesting. Anyway, let's take a look at her kit. So, you can see she is a support hero. Here she is, walking around, doing all that fun stuff. Her first thing is her primary fire, which is the Medi Blaster. Now, it is much like Ana's weapon. It will heal allies if you shoot them and damage enemies if you shoot them. And also, like Ana, it will shoot through full health allies to hit anyone on the other side once the ally is at full health. So you can see heal and then shoot through. As you can see, that is the same way that Ana works, so the same is true here. Next is her secondary fire, which is Pulsar Torpedoes. You use the right click, your secondary fire button, and it will lock on to both enemies and allies, and then you just left click and you'll shoot it at whatever you're aiming at. I don't know if there is a maximum number. I want to say, from what I've seen, maybe 5 is the max. I don't think there's any more. Also, if you just wait it out, it will fire automatically. But 5 seems to be the max from what I can tell, though I don't know with 100% certainty. But that is that. Before I show the next ability I want to showcase, I want to talk about her passive ability, which is the Martian Overboots. She has a double jump ability, so if you jump and then jump again, you can get a little boost, and then you can hold space to hover. And you can see there her shift ability, the glide boost, where she glides horizontally with increased movement speed. I think a lot of people, myself included, assumed she was going to be able to fly, similar to the way Echo or Diva or Pharah can, and Mercy. It does not seem to be the case. She can only get horizontal mobility with that ability. Her verticality comes from her Overboots passive, so you can gain ground. Obviously, you can double jump and then glide, and you'll get some air like that. But it is not like what we kind of would have expected from a hero like Echo, for example. It is very different. Also, with her primary fire, no critical hits, no headshots. So, much like Ana in that way, no headshots and no critical healing, no headshots on enemies, anything like that. Just a 3-shot burst that does damage. Same every time. Her next ability is her Hyper Ring. It is her E ability. You just deploy it down, and it gives you a little speed boost that applies to any allies that pass through as well. That's a pretty nice ability for her. It gives an alternate to Lucio when it comes to boosting speed, or you can just run both and have lots of speed, which will be a really, really good time. And her final ability is, of course, her ultimate ability. It is the ability Orbital Array. When she uses it, she calls down a ray that travels forward, healing allies and increasing their damage. So I'll just deploy it here. You can see it go through. Oh, they're getting healed. Obviously, they don't have any damage, these bots, but it also boosts her damage. As you can see, it's got a damage boost there. So that is the way her kit functions. That is how it works. Those are the basics of it. Definitely, I get more of the flex heal vibes, where you're going to be wanting to do damage to get the full utility out of her kit. Being able to use your little missiles to both heal and do damage is certainly a nice way to deal with some of your enemies, and to keep your allies alive as well. Being able to do two things at once is always good. I think it's a very, very helpful tool, but I have yet to play her in game, so I'm going to go play her and give you all my thoughts on her after a couple of little test games, and yeah, share how I feel about her kit in action, in game. So let's jump to that. Alright, after playing a couple of games as Space Ranger, let's talk a bit about my opinions, thoughts, feelings, and all of that on the hero. Gameplay you're watching here is from my second game on Space Ranger. The first game was actually one of the weirdest games ever because we got completely out-fragged and somehow managed to win on Control, because that's how Control works. You can just win a point randomly and all of a sudden it steamrolls somehow into you winning. But this, of course, is, as you can see, Esperanza, and I got to play a full game as her twice, and the queues are absurdly long, so only 2 games I have under my belt as Juno. But my initial thoughts is she is incredibly fun. I really enjoy her kit. I definitely think the thing that I'm struggling with the most is getting the right click into the left click working the best. Sometimes I double click the right click and then it cancels it, and then you have the whole queue, or the whole cooldown to wait through again, which to me feels a little bit punishing. It feels a little long if you do that. I kind of wish it was not that case, where if you don't fire it off, you have to go through the whole cooldown again. But that right now is the only major criticism I have for Juno at this moment, in terms of that part of her kit. I think she feels pretty fun. I think she's intuitive. I think her escapability is interesting. Obviously, it's the kind of thing where on certain maps, I think she's going to struggle. I don't think she does well if the other person or the other team is using a hit scan player. You know, if they are playing a Widow or an Ashe that can hit shots pretty consistently, or even a Cassidy can hit shots pretty consistently, she struggles. Both games I played against Doomfist was the other tank, and I felt like she did not do great against Doomfist, even though she can get decent escapability and mobility, and it may have just been the games that I played. The first game we played, we were getting just totally rolled, like I mentioned, that we managed to win. Doomfist, the enemy Doomfist is just much better at punishing, and to be fair, my tank in the first game was kind of bad and just didn't protect the team, but that's neither here nor there. I think she does not do well against those long-range hit scam heroes, because unlike Pharah or Echo or Diva, her movement when she is in the air is very, very, very simple. She moves horizontally or she is floating down. You don't have a lot of control in that same way, and she does not have vertical movement. So she is much easier to follow and track than a hero like Echo or Diva or like I said, Pharah, Mercy, where they have way more ability to get vertical movement. So I think she's pretty easy to punish as long as you know how to hit your shots and kind of work those angles and play from good sight lines. To me, she is very, very vulnerable in those types of situations. But I think with the way that her speed ring works and being able to use her shift to get some verticality and also have more movement is nice. She can get back to point pretty quickly, which is nice. And being able to kind of use it collectively. I used it a lot. If you watch this footage, usually when I die, I usually just place it right by the spawn when the team is respawning and just boost us back. It is a long cooldown, so I might not have it immediately, but if I use it right when I respawn, by the time you get back into the fight, it's on a pretty short cooldown, and then you can use it when you need it. This gameplay, do not watch my ults, please. One of them I fat-fingered, the other one I died immediately after using it. I don't know if either of them will show up, but the fat-finger one really, really hurt. I did have better ults in the first game, I promise. But I do think she's fun. I think she's a very interesting hero. I think she's a fun, intuitive hero. I like what she is. She doesn't feel overpowered. She doesn't feel super strong, which is good. Obviously, it's still very early. Those could change. Those opinions could change. But I definitely don't think she feels like she's unkillable or invulnerable. And I think the fact that she does not have that vertical movement like Echo, like Pharah, like Diva, like Mercy, does make her a little bit more grounded as a hero and makes her not incredible. Plus, her range is not great. I think it feels that way when you play her. She is a mid to short range hero. She is not going to be doing a lot of damage or healing from range. When you are at range, you really need to rely on that right click to get those healing orbs or healing missiles, whatever, off and heal your teammates from a distance as you're trying to close the distance and be more effective with your left click healing. So there is definitely a push and pull. The thing I like about the way her right click works, I will say, is it feels kind of like what a lot of people want Moira to be or wish Moira was, where when Moira uses her orb, right, her E ability, she can either heal or do damage. She can't do both, right? Now, she can throw out her healing orb and then use her left click to heal spray, or she can do the alternative where she can shoot out her healing orb and right click to do damage, finish off enemies. But this feels more like you just kind of use it and you just hit whatever's in front of you, whether it be enemies or allies, which is nice. It's kind of just turn your brain off. You can do both. You can do whatever you need. As long as you have people in your sightline, you can hit them. It'll go off, whether they be enemies or allies, which is nice, and that is always a good thing to see. So it's an interesting kit. I like using her. I think she's fun to play. It's obviously way too early to know whether or not she'll be meta, how she'll affect the meta, all that type of stuff. We don't know yet. There's a lot of things that we'll have to wait and see as time goes on. But my initial reaction is positive. I think she's fun. I think there's a lot of really cool things to her kit. I think there's a lot of fun things to do with her kit, and I think she's going to be a hero that gets some playtime. The game is going to be faster when you have Juno and Lucio that can kind of amp speed and then ring, amp speed and ring kind of back and forth. I think we are going to be seeing potentially an uptick in some of those rush compositions, potentially, because of just how much those can pair well together. Plus her ultimate, I think the fact that it literally just moves in a straight line really does benefit that style of play more than anything else. You can obviously make use of it with dive depending on how you're playing and how you're moving around, but I think her play style will benefit rush comps more, and I think that is what we're going to see potentially an uptick in if she does see meta, and if she does become meta. I think it'll be because she benefits those rush compositions quite a lot, and that's where I think she's going to go. But those are my thoughts on her initially after playing. Obviously, she's not fully out yet. We're not going to be able to see her in competitive and in pro play for a little while, so for now, this is all just initial thoughts, first reactions, all that type of stuff. But I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. If you've tried Juno out, let me know your thoughts. Love to hear about it. Do you like her? Do you think she needs tuning? What do you think? Anything about her? Love to hear from you in the comments down below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and want more like it in the future, consider liking and subscribing, as your support does help out a lot. I know it's been a while, like I said at the beginning of the video, but I'm not gone. I'm here. Content is on its way, and stay tuned for that. But that's going to be all for me for today. Hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy. And until next time, bye-bye.